Thank you for staying with us here on Why in the Morning. That's a hashtag of the day as well. Hashtag Why in the Morning or Empowerment Cafe. My name is Valentine and I never walk or sit alone. So today I have had the extreme pleasure of hosting with my fellow noisemaker, that is Grasha Maingi, but she's taking a break. Tumecheza game na nimeshinda, and she tells you different lies, and we have still not been fed by the director of the day, that's Benjamin. So if also he's purporting, nimeanza kutumia majina kubwa kubwa, purporting to have gifted us, he's also lying. Yeah, and it's stacking up. Oh, nasikia njaa. It's fine. It's fine. Hashtag is Why in the Morning. Now we have a question on our socials, which I will read out and continue to read out your comments as well. So today, tunafaa kuempower aje madem reduce cases of teen pregnancy, but we're going to look at general wellness of the girl child and the boy child. We have actually had small 1-hour class of sex education this morning with Grasha Maigi. In case you missed it, there are a couple of things I'm foreseeing we're going to repeat. But hi Zuru, we can never tell you enough. There's no such thing as too much knowledge. Misioni kama itakuwa. Yes. There's Abitush Jr. says, tuned. Good morning, watching live from Kisii, says Rebecca Amos. Lauren Nyairabo. Morning, Lauren, watching live from Nairobi, Kenya. See you, Irungu J. Jason, 3 times. Mekwana. Chicks Don, representing Kwale. See you with Akaforo. Augusto Limbs, advising and advising more. Actually, let me extend this question. So this is basically just sex education. And yes, teenage pregnancies, but, you know, people do not sit down and have pregnant thoughts. Yes, it takes 2 to tango. So if in case we are talking about 2 young people, you know, having relations and birthing a child, please help me understand. Are we supposed to advise the boy child also? Ama ni msichana tu anafaa kuadvisiwa? And please, why? 5 marks. Yeah, tukona Punguch, Naivasha Kiandege representative, Teo listening from Mwanda, Bungoma County. Rehema Kalamba, good morning, 006, well represented. Mwalimu Elijah Mokorana Kaselfi pia. Good morning, watching live from St. Catherine Academy. Kisii tukondani kama kawa, I see you. Kidiga Dance, and good morning from Vihiga. Hey, watu wa Vihiga, good morning. Wakawa Kagonti, good morning, watching together with my brother Benito Masai from, hey, hey, that name is suspect. Benitez and Masai all in one name, from Kitui Westlocked. Ian Opija says, watching live from Siaya. Kimetho Kip says, good morning. Thank you. JJ Ozengo Mompasani present. Daniel Mason, good morning. Hey, how do you my Twitter angels? Azakila Motors this morning. Michael Kisaka says, Bungoma live. Michael Kisaka again with 2 sets of photos. Kama tukumona your side, tumepata angle lingine. Rapido Odube says, Meru together. Wesley Gibson, good morning. Kennedy Jumba, good morning. Good morning, Judhufu. Asema Kondani, Kennedy Jumba, amesema tuendange tu nalo. I see you, Kamau Musenango, and again, Jumba of Kennedy. All right, so remember, basically, we're just talking about sex education, how to disseminate this kind of this education, how to prevent. And we keep talking about teen pregnancies, but we said ni kama watu wanaogopa mimba kuliko magonjwa. So you cannot see a disease, but you can see a pregnancy. So we'll also be discussing that. This, I think, is the 3rd time in a couple of months. So either someone somewhere has gotten a teenager pregnant and nataka tumsaidie, ama this is a really sensitive case and we need to keep talking about it, which is fine either way. Good morning, ladies. Muko salama? Mbona tu mkinicheka tu from my peripheral view. Muko fiti?
Yes.
Ata mnakaa tu fiti. Let me start with you. What's your name?
My name is Buthaina Asindwa. I'm a student of International Relations and Diplomacy from Strathmore University. I am a mentee of a project called Dreams by Hope Worldwide Kenya, which focuses on empowering and upskilling the girl child. And I am also one of the founders of an all-round mentorship for youth, CBO, called The Reality Check. I'm a presenter at Pamoja FM on an empowerment for women talk show called Mwanamke ni Mwangaza. And I am, always have been, always will be a youth development advocate.
Yes. Sijui umeshika gani hapo, but I think we'll just be talking about all of them. And you are?
I'm Rael Mayende, a program officer at Crime Sipoa. Crime Sipoa is an NGO Currently our head office is at Ngara, but we are in 5 counties, working around 3 thematic areas. That is community engagement, where we engage kids and young people in schools. At the community level, we have centers at Dandora, Kajiado, and Ruiru. And we have a prison and integration program where we engage inmates in various prisons. Right now, we've served 15 prisons, and we take them through psychoeducation, spiritual session for spiritual nourishment, and to help them navigate through the rehabilitation process. And when they are reintegrated back in the society, we also have the legal support services, where we train paralegals both in prison and in the community. We empower them with legal knowledge to navigate. Tutaki ile story ya kila mtu anatuambia mimi sikujua ni makosa. The law is there. Yeah, iko na vijana wengi wako prison, and our founder, who is our current executive director, Peter Ouko, he founded Crime Sipoa when he was in prison way back in 2007. He was on death row at Kamiti, but for a wrongful conviction where he served 18 years. And while there, he was responding to the rate of why are these young people in prison, why are they incarcerated, there is a rise in youth crime. So he founded it to address it, and it was formally registered in 2010. We started operations in 2017, and we are working around 3 pillars of crime awareness, behavior change, and skill transfer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, the name is Crime Sipoa.
Yeah, Crime Sipoa. That's our brand name, but our official name is Youth Safety Awareness Initiative. Huko kwa mtaa tunajulikana kama Crime Sipoa, na hata hizi ndo our brand colors.
Okay, mukona hadi poleni bas. I have so many questions, but I really like the way both of you are in touch with the youth. So wacha tuanze tu mali ume. Again with the prison at 18 years, death row, then
yeah.
And then now he's out, and then now he's one who founded Crime Sipoa.
Yeah.
So, okay. Relating it to maybe sexual education, how many youth, acha niseme baby girls and baby boys, but youth in general, I don't want to also call them Gen Z, but how many do you think actually have access to information like this? And does it change with the environment? Yani ukienda leafy suburbs, huku wanajua a little bit more than east side ingine?
Yeah. I'll surely say, ukienda wale wa leafy suburbs, they have access to phones. The lifestyle is okay. Even in schools, maybe how do you call it? Private schools, they have access to those programs. But tukikuja informal settlement, and even in the rural, most of the youths do not have access to sexual education. And that's why we are also trying to go into the informal settlements way back to teach them about SRHR, sexual reproductive health rights. It caters across not only the youth, but even the parents. Yeah.
All right, before we reach the very disturbing fact that perhaps maybe teenage pregnancies are being caused by grown men, let's just focus first on young boys who are, you know, engaging with young girls, thus teen pregnancies. There's somewhere I saw, at first I thought it was funny, but as I am continuing living this life, I think naona ni ukweli tu sana. It just says a crush is lack of information. So unajua msichana mdogo bado adolescence na msumbua nini, and then someone just comes, tells you 1 to 3 things, you're wowed by small things, chipo venye tu tumesema hapa na Grace. So as a mentee, because you said you're a mentee, bwa mkiongeleshwa mnaambiwa nini girl empowerment?
Okay, when it comes to girls empowerment, it's looked at it's done in different ways. For example, now there's a mentor who will come and talk to you guys and teach you about your sexual health rights, and then there's another one who will come and teach you about hygiene, you understand. And then they will also teach you about contraceptives, what to do like when a guy approaches you, and how to approach relationships, because also when they're mentoring you, they don't just put all teenagers in one room. They do it according to your age. So there are those teens who are still in primary, there are the middle-aged teens like 16, 17, and then there's now 18 to 25.
13 pia ni teen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they group you according to the level of teenagehood you've reached, and they mentor you accordingly, because there's something a 17-year-old needs to know or has experienced that a 13-year-old doesn't know. And also they do peer-to-peer mentorships. Like sasa, it's not you who is the mentor, you're the big person, you know, like we have to listen to you, or someone cannot open up because you're the big person. So there's also those sessions where it's just us teenagers, peer-to-peer, we are discussing our experiences. Because you can find, I'm a teenager, but I haven't engaged in sex. You're a teenager, but you have a child. You're a teenager, you've engaged in sex, but you do not have a child. So we share our experiences, we empower each other. And also, I like the fact that these days we are not shying away from the empowerment and education of comprehensive sexual education, in that, for example, I remember there's these sessions that we have, instead of just telling you, oh, like when you're going to have sex, wear contraceptives, do this, do that, they actually teach you, like they show you, this is how a condom looks like, this is how you should wear it, this is P2, it looks like this, these are HRVs, when you go out there and you have unprotected sex, you're going to get HIV, and then you're going to have to swallow this for the rest of your life. So it's very practical as much as it's theoretical, and it's also like like you get to live other people's stories, and you know that it's actually true, because even some teenagers, or like people you're in the same club with, they actually get to come with their children, and you actually see it for yourself. And it's I love the fact that there are many CBOs actually, and we are not stigmatizing these pregnant teenagers anymore, because someone will come and, you know, the belly is there, but there's an organization in society that has accepted them, that is willing to help them, you know, walk through that journey, and it's not the end. And also the fact that mental health has been integrated into this whole thing, because you find like teenagers and being a teenager, it comes with a lot of things, a lot of mental health complications. You know, you find someone losing their self-esteem, depression, someone thinks of suicide, someone ends up in drug abuse and everything. So as a mentee, I'd really like to appreciate my organization, because it's not shying away from these things. It's very accepting, and it's also very practical. You know, they don't just tell you, they actually show you. Yeah.
You're so fascinating. There's a car to even nimsikize ka movie bana, okay? I want you to help me understand how maybe this particular line of work you inserted in prisons, because when the first thing I think of when I hear prisons ni wanaume, I forget even the female women prisons. I don't think they're called female prisons. So tell me about what kind of education you provide as Pokwatu Legal Counsel
in prisons. Okay, prisons when you umesema ukisikia ni wanaume, but you have Langata and you have Kamai Bostol at Kamiti. Kamai Bostol is for girls who are underage. When you are yeah.
It's a juvenile prison.
Yeah, girls who are underage, they are there.
With offense, not people who...
No, with offense. We have kids who really commit very many crimes out here. Yeah, so we have Kamai Bostol and we have Langata. As much as you want to teach them about mental wellness, but you also have to teach them about these life skill issues. They are there. They are prevalent in the society. Once they are out, then what? Are you in prison for this period of time? Then after there, you go directly into pregnancy. So we choose those topics so that they can also champion. When they are out, they can champion. Sikujua. That sikujua bit of it. I never knew that nikishika huyu msichana, hata kama ako form 2, they have developed. You know, nowadays, the kids have really developed, the teens.
Yes.
Si kama sisi uko na miaka, lakini uko hivi. Hao wamedevelop, anakaa kama a grown up. And now you tell them, saa zingine omba ID, they feel like, niitishe mtu ID. We go straight into the action. That's why they are there.
Kwanza ni kama ni wa Ethiopia. Unajua Ethiopia just celebrated 2017. Ask.
Ask for an ID. It will save you a lot. Ask for it. So we teach them. As much as we want to empower them legally, but there is that life skill bit of sexual reproductive health. It's a man, empower him. Akitoka akuwe champion, ambassador, who will tell people, enyewe hiyo ngori ni noma. Unaona, usishike huyu mtoi, ni wa shule. Atakuweka ndani. So just creating that mindset ya kuambia hata mkitoka, it's not the end. We believe in second chances, by the way. as much as they are perpetrators, but you have to tell them. Kama ni sexual offense ilikuleta hapa, and by the sexual offenses they are very harsh. Siku hizi vidole hata kutolewa kwa system ni ngumu sana. Yeah.
So time, maybe imprisonment would be?
Imprisonment. 11 years and below, life.
Huh?
Life imprisonment.
Wow.
Yes.
Yani minimum ni 11?
11 and below, life imprisonment. Because you have people who defile even a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old. So 11 and below, life imprisonment will, yeah.
Okay.
And then we have those 13 to 15, we have 20 years and above. Then we have 16 to 18, 15. Ina depend saa zingine pia judge anaweza amua acha nikuweke hata 30.
Akijaa mtu ni hivyo.
Yeah, but we have right now sexual offense is very crucial. Now that we have people who are championing for it, justice for victims. Because in the informal settlement utapata they have commercial wamefanya imekuwa kitu ya pesa, like you am defiled by my uncle, but now let me protect my uncle's image. My mother will take 20,000 and then we are done.
Okay, so there's no telling whether I'm pregnant or not. We are not going to discuss this.
We'll flash it out with the 20,000.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yo, tell me how you're feeling about that, and maybe in your environment, are you taught or exposed to such harsh realities? It's one thing having someone who said, "Oh, I had consensual nini with nani," ni vile tu sikuwa rada sana niki, you know. But have you ever heard of cases of force?
Yeah, personally, I've come across cases of not exactly defilement. I don't know if I would call it defilement, but it was rape. I had a friend who was raped at the early age of 13, and it's never been the same. It's never the same because it changes your whole view about men. It changes your whole view about relationships, about marriage, about children, because now you don't know if you're to keep the child, if you're not to keep the child. And you know, as early as 13, even if you decide to keep the pregnancy, personally for my friend, it came with a lot of complications. Yes, some people make it to the 9-month term and you give birth to your child is healthy, but obviously the trauma never leaves you. But now there are those people who give birth to the child. Now, for like my friend, she gave birth to the child, but after the birth it came with complications for her, not only mentally, but also there's this thing called obstetric fistula. So it really disorganizes you down there, and sometimes it leaves you with a permanent disability, like maybe you'll never ever be able to like use the washroom on your own again, or you'll never be able to have a child again. So it's really difficult now. If it happens to someone with whom you live in the same community with, or like this is my door, that's your door, you know, you don't feel safe anymore. Because you're like, every day you leave home, you're just wondering, will I be safe? Can I wear what I want? You know, it's very scary. But at the end of the day, also, in as much as it happens to people close to you, it makes you have the urge to want to like avenge them. You want to champion for the people who can't speak for themselves. You want to be empowered in order to speak for people who can't speak for themselves. But it's very scary, because now imagine we are in the peer-to-peer meetings, and then someone is talking of being raped, and someone is talking of, you know, it wasn't, yes, they did it consensually, but you also understand them, because at times it's because there was no money at home, or you are, let's say you don't have like responsible parents. Let's say you have an alcoholic parent, and then you have younger siblings. So you find yourself having a lot of burden in as much as you're young, and you find that people want to pay you for sex. And you're like, why not? It's money. It gets to make life better. So people out there have really disturbing stories, and you know, it's difficult to share. And you know, when you get to hear them, it sticks with you. It's not an easy thing, even though it didn't happen to you, because you're living in the same community. It could happen to you, like, yeah.
Maybe just to clarify,
okay,
when it comes to sexual offenses, Defilement is clarified is defined as having sexual acts with someone who is below the age of 18. And then rape is 18 and above.
Oh.
Yeah. 18 and below we call it defilement. Then 18 and above we call it rape. So your friend was defiled generally. But the cases are there in the communities. Where I work at Ruiru, Risha has said sometimes it's because of poverty. Where I work at Ruiru with the kids, you know, when you are there, the kids, you are giving them the time, but once umefika hapo, umeshuka boda, teacher Rael is here, they'll take your bag and just start off. Let me tell you, sister yangu ako na mimba. Before you know it, alipewa na mtu huko juu mamake alimtuma aende kuduru. Kuduru is borrowing money, uko kwa stage. Kuduru. And then yes, sasa juu hakuwa na doo ya mkate, alikuwa anataka at times sanitary towels, akaenda sasa ako na mimba na imesemekana ako na twins.
Yeah,
and the ones giving you stories ni mtoto wa 4 years, 6 years, 7 years.
Na filter. Oh.
They don't filter, but they'll be honest with you. Ako na mimba na hiyo si ni mbaya teacher.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there's stigma, but also there's a feeling of, it sounds like a responsibility that young people are now putting upon themselves to make the household things run. So how do we help from there? Because, you know, how to help? How to help? Because I want to imagine, okay, acha tusiite government. Let us not call serikali, sawa. But how to help? Mimi kama Val, I'm the viewer right now. How can they help? Maybe from various organizations. Is there a way that we can reach out and lend a hand? Because it sounds a little bit traumatizing.
Okay, when it comes to the poverty bit, like for Crime Sipoa, we have adapted skill transfer programs for economic empowerment, just to curb everything. You'll teach them a skill today, like soap making. Haihitaji pesa mingi, you'll buy materials at 400, teach them about soap making, teach them about beading. Kama shida ni poverty kabisa. And reach out to the parents, involve them in those programs and teach them about the economic empowerment bit of it, not just the kids. According to the constitution, they shouldn't be working, they're underage. If the problem is poverty and there is a parent there who is also saying, I can't provide, I can't stretch, try to stretch their hands. Just put them together and say, this is the situation. How can we solve it? These are our kids. Tunataka kuwaona wakipotea.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting. How advanced is our foster system? Do we even have one? For example, someone who has been defiled, is pregnant, has come to term, full term, given birth to a bouncy baby, girl or boy, healthy, and cannot be able to take up on the responsibility. Is there a functioning foster system? Kusema tu kweli.
Sahi watu wamenyamaza. And everyone anajiekea implementation zake anafanya peke yake. There is no collaborative effort between CSOs, between government and CSOs. There is no collaborative effort. But we have people who are trying to take them up. Even Samburu Girls is taking them up. Nasema ishafanyika, imefanyika. Can I help you in this? Wanawachukua, wanawaeka. But it's not diverse. Itakuwa Nairobi but haiko Busia. Haiko Kisumu. Hakuna mtu amefikiria kwenda huko mashinani. So it's happening.
Again, with the lack of knowledge, let me just come back to you. Maybe, do you feel like, I asked in the beginning, let me start from here, that perhaps where you're from, leafy suburbs versus mashinani, tuseme hivyo, and everything in between, there's going to be a different range of the amount of, the quantity and quality of information that we receive on any number of topics, inclusive of wellness, that is mental, sexual reproductive health, etc., etc. Do you feel like there's a huge gap between the urban setting and the more rural one, and everything in between?
Definitely. I feel there's a very big gap, because if you look at most organizations that are wanting to empower the girl child and everything, mostly they look at mostly they look at, I think they look at slum areas, yeah, and not like slum areas within urban settings. So you find like there are so many organizations within, concentrated in one place doing the same thing, and then in rural areas you find very few sparse organizations who basically more focus on economic empowerment, cultural empowerment. There are very few that focus on sexual and reproductive health rights, and everything in between. And I also feel like if you look at urban areas, leafy or slums, there is technology. You know, people can watch TV, people get called to these meetings, people can like listen to the radio. Now if you look at people in mashinani, they don't have access to like television, nini. And also I feel like people with more power, like resource-wise and knowledge-wise, are also still concentrated within the urban areas compared to rural areas. So in rural areas you can find a very young girl like mwenye amefika to class 8, and with the little knowledge that she gained, it's not the best, it's not too much, but she's the one who is trying to carry the burden of the community on her back, like empower this one here and there. So I feel like there's a very big gap in terms of resources, in terms of technology and everything, and there's a lot of concentration in urban centers compared to
the rural settings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have 2 questions. Let me start with you, then you can echo or take away, and then my dress, my choice. There's something that you've talked about. Should I be afraid of what I wear? You know, oh, Shayon, easy. Okay, I do not encourage you to do this at home, but I've seen in more developed countries, let me call them that, in the Europeans and all these things, there are women who march naked. Like just because I'm naked does not, I said do not try this at home. Yes, but for them, they are very comfortable marching naked and say, yeah, this does not mean I want you, by the way. Hata nikivaa nini amani sikutaki. It's not consent. I have, so you look if you must, but please have some, at least, grasp of what self-control is. So how far is my dress, my choice with this? And then as you add or take on, I want to understand offense as 2 minors who have engaged in intercourse and now one of them is pregnant. Where is the offense for the boy in this case? And it was consensual, but they're both underage. Let's start with my dress, my choice.
Okay, for my dress, my choice, I feel like it can be looked at under different scopes. It can be looked at like religious wise, it can be looked
at... Ndio nimekuuliza wewe. I hope you've seen. Ndio maana nimekuuliza wewe.
It can be looked at under diverse scopes, but for me, personally, I think that as a Muslim, as a girl and everything, I feel like my dress, my choice, yeah, you can wear anything that you want, and I feel like despite what I wear doesn't mean that I should be prey to any sexual assault or physical or verbal despite what I wear, because because this is a civilized era. You know, people know their rights, people know what consent is, but also now the one that you've talked about, like you're like marching naked and everything. I feel like also in as much as men are the perpetrators and you're being preyed on, like you also put yourself in that situation. I'm not saying it's okay, but I feel like if you're clothed, there is no way someone should feel free to want to pounce on you sexually. But also if you also put yourself in such situations, like I feel like you should have thought about it, because this is not your world. Like you're coexisting with other people, so you should also be considerate of other people. But at the end of the day, no one should be victim to sexual assault. Yeah.
I like how you've delicately balanced that. Before you answer, Ryle, there's something I was asking one of my friends, one of my media personality sisters, achani nimuite hivyo. Why is it that nikitembea hii town nipate mzungu amevaa shorts, hakuna mtu anamsumbua? Mimi nikithubutu kuvaa the same shorts, tuseme hata tuna twin, me sijui those things, where the exact same thing, I'm the one who's going to get harassed. Ni color ama? Because I hear I can change that. Should I have my Caucasian skin out for you to make you feel more comfortable about my body parts? Yaani wewe tu. Ni wewe tu bado niko na wewe. Yeah, because have you never noticed? You can find a foreigner wearing whatever they want. Ni sawa. And I kind of understand because where they're from, they have the freedom of expressing themselves however they choose to. And their climate is very different from ours. So ukisikia baridi, possibly anasikia joto. Possibly. But does that mean mimi nikivaa kaa yeye, you will harass me because why? I should know better because I look a certain way, my skin is darker. Why? Onata. Ryle is also, I wish I was not you.
Like for me, like I said, like your dress, your choice, and I feel like still no one should be prey to sexual assault because of how they dress. Now, just like how you said, for them they come from a westernized world, and for us we are still we are in Africa. You know how African culture.
No, I don't. Siwatetei bana. I do not.
They're still, like people still have that mentality. Like, yes, your skin, it influences that. You're black, you're African. You've been, like, they have that thing of, you've been instilled to wear like this. Then why are you going against it? So I feel like people are still in that era of apana, you're an African woman, this is not meant for you, and they don't look at a mzungu like that because it's a mzungu. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's a little bit of African mentality ziko hapo, and the fact that she's a mzungu and you're a white, but it does not mean that someone should sexually harass you.
And we'll call those double standards, but that is fine by me. It's okay. Let's just move past this. Once, actually, I met someone who said, you can wear anything you want, just know when and where. Just know your occasion. Kuna mahali utanipata nikivaa hivi, but I know why I've worn it. It is for the occasion. Sawa. Mali niko iko tu sawa. But do not attempt to take it out of context. Sure. Yes, so I was asking you if you can add or take away from the same, but sana I want to understand the nature of offense of a young man, an underaged young man who has impregnated an underaged young girl. Apo offense ni gani? Is he liable for jail time?
Well, maybe let me start by telling you. Someone who is below 18 years can't give consent in any aspect.
Yeah.
Someone who is drunk can't give consent. Someone who is below 18 years, wewe ni mtoto, you can't consent to anything. Sasa hiyo yao kwanza haiko consensual in any way. They were just trying out new things.
Oh no.
Yeah. And when it comes to offenses, as I've told you, we have prisons for boys even at Kamiti. Those who are underage, kuna YCTC. Kamiti has got 4 prisons. Kamiti maximum, medium, YCTC for the boys who are underage. Then Kamai, Boston for the girls who are underage. So hii ni kama tunaenda ile sekta ya vijana sasa, YCTC. You've had sex with, let me,
for the sake of example.
For the sake of example. He's, Buthania, my boyfriend. We are in class, even 7 and form 2. But we are form 2, si miaka yake iko juu kidogo. Na mimi wa class 7. Reasoning yetu system. Hapo ndo shida hutokea. That's why wanaume wanasema, sheria inatukalia, ina favor this. But our reasoning, hautasema tulikubaliana. We treat it as Romeo and Juliet case.
Wow.
Yeah. Mostly ukienda huko kwa court tamba Romeo and Juliet case. Wanda huyu anapatikana na makosa sana. Yeah.
Romeo is the problem. Juliet tu alikuwa na mind hounding. Juliet alidanganywa.
Juliet ako class 7, Romeo ako class ako form 2. Nani atadanganya mwingine haraka?
Ni ukweli. Kwanza yako high school.
Ako high school. Chali yangu ako form 2 anasoma huku. Maybe ako na 50 bob kila siku yenye ananipeanga. Enticement. Anani entice.
Still treat it as defilement.
Yeah, but sasa sentence haitakuwa kama ile ya wale wa medium na maximum. Yeah.
It's a little bit more lenient. Women educate. I did not najuanga tu Kamiti ni maximum. I did not know there were so.
No, Kamiti has.
She's pregnant, like she will serve term in prison, like with her pregnancy. Yeah, like if the girl gets pregnant and then, okay, will the girl also be taken into custody? Or it's only the boy?
the boy.
Okay, what if the girl is now the one in Form 2? And the
That
boy
was
is
my
in
next
class
question.
7?
What
The boy is
happens?
in class 7.
Uh-huh.
Actually, hapo hivyo ndo kuna kwanga na shida, to be honest. Baada anaweza tu pele, but class 7 ina depend miaka ngapi, because
Sasa
utapata
sikia, we have
YCTC.
started depending on things.
No,
Uh,
ni miaka ngapi tunaangalia?
The girl is
Because-
older, the boy is younger.
I'm coming there. YCTC ni wale watu wa 10 years to 20. Ya utapata huyu mwenye ako class 7 ako 9 years. Saa zingine tunakaa chini tunaongea tunasema okay, huku kuliendaje? You are in class 7, ya ako Form 2. But how comes hata wewe msichana wa Form 2 unachukua mtoto wa class 7?
maybe anakaa mkubwa. Si tumetoka tu sasa kusema they are developing.
Hapo kidogo we'll debate about it. Yeah.
So if you're under 18 as a lady, but umechukua mtoto wa Form 3.
Under 18 as a lady?
Na huyu mwingine ako Form 3, si? It's around 16.
Ni itumia mimi kama example. Mimi niko na miaka ngapi?
Wewe uko 8, yeye ako 18, si ndio hii? Wewe ndio uko.
Mimi ndo she, yeye ni he.
So you're 17. Let's give it that.
17.
High school inaanza wapi? 14, 15 hapo.
Yeah.
Let's say you're 15. Makosa?
Mimi niko 17. Yako?
15.
15. Alinipea mimba.
Na wewe ndio mkubwa.
Alinipea mimba.
So huku
I'm telling you,
entice.
sexual offenses is very harsh. Yeah, very harsh. Alinipea mimba. Na maybe hata alinientice because tumesema siku hizi wanakaa wakubwa.
Okay, but like we said it takes two to
No
tango.
balance.
But sasa kwa nini
No balance, but kuna reviews zinafanyika literally. Kumekuwa na reviews na recommend about the Sexual Offences Act to adjust kidogo. Juu hawa wote ni wetu.
Yeah, my boy child, wake up. Musishikwe unawares.
Tunasema waitisha ID, hawataki kuitisha ID. They'll tell you pale kwa activity kwa field wanakuambia unaitishaje mtu ID na mshatoa nguo aje, ati nikwambie hebu nisaidie ID.
Kwani mechi siku hizi mnaonana tu kama hata hakuna lugha nini, you just
Maybe wako mavitu.
When you add inebriation, their senses are all a little bit muddled. We are not thinking the way we should
Zikishuka
be.
uko na pingu.
Hai, makosa. Wanavaa bracelet. Tunaita bracelet.
Zikishuka because ukiwa under the influence of drugs you won't think of using contraceptives.
You won't.
Unaona tu mechi.
Alafu unaona venye utapeana hii story.
Niende ni
Jana.
Mnasemanga Val, mimi nilimkuta.
So what if like if you're okay, if we were under the influence, is the charge higher, is the charge more harsh compared to when we were not?
Intoxication and sexual offenses.
Umeongeza offense ingine ya juu. Intoxication ni offense ingine.
As in if when you are intoxicated you can't consent. Mlevi hawezi peana consent. Leo ujue like for you ulewe sahi. Utoke na hii. Mwende. Then you have sexual intercourse. Ukiamka asubuhi mwambie sikutaka. Anafungwa. Nasema Val was under influence. So someone who is under influence can't consent.
Mwanzake kuandika contracts guys. Walai. So naweza amka kesho nimechange mind hata uko na kasura.
Even if you are married right now.
Okay, hiyo nilikuwa najua.
Na muanze alafu mwambie utaki aendelee. Amekure.
Na ndani ya ndoa.
Yes.
Wow.
Si mimi nakata, ni nafsi yangu.
Na yeye akikata
Unaacha.
na ukiendelea
wewe ndio umemfanyia.
At least small balance has been achieved. Okay. I think this is very fascinating. Thank you for being so litigious about all this information, and thank you so very much for bringing on your wisdom. One more time, how can we find you? Didn't even ask. Social media, how can we find you?
Personally?
Yes.
I'm on Instagram at buthaina.asindwa. Yeah, I only use Instagram. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn, Buthaina Asindwa.
Hey, you're like a serious babe. Okay. And the organization that you're a mentee at?
The Reality Check on all socials.
Okay. And you said you're a CEO somewhere.
Not CEO, co-founder.
Sasa hiyo ndio serious. CEO. Okay, co-founding where?
The Reality Check still.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, na umekataa haraka na hata ndio cheo umeongeza zaidi. Rael, how can we find you on social media?
Hapo kwa social media, let's stick to LinkedIn, Rael Mayende. But Crime Sipoa website is there. We have our website, Crime Sipoa, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
crime sipo. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much for gracing our screens, ladies. Mnakaa vizuri, mnaongea fiti. I'm so very glad we had this conversation. Yeah, that's a little bit more than teen pregnancy, but that's okay. That bodes well with me. I hope you've learned something today. So for myself and Grasha Maingi, we wish you a fantastic one. Tutaonana ile siku tu tutaonana, but don't touch that dial. Keep it Y254.